and welcome back to Aubrey Books and Coffee. Please grab your favorite beverage of choice and join me. We're going to wrap up April. I am so excited. It has been a fabulous month, everyone. I hope yours has gone really well as well. This month, of course, I finally got my readathon bookmarks done. I am excited to finally get those out to you all. We've been waiting so patiently. I appreciate it. And the stickers for the Adulting D&D. If you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you check out the video. And make sure you're here for sprints on May the 10th because I'm going to be releasing a video that gives you a better walkthrough of the D&D spreadsheet so you can earn prizes. But anyway, all that to say, I had a great reading month. I took it a little easier than I've been doing so far this year. I only read a total of 26 books. And of those 26, of course, most were fantasy, as I tend to do. 3 were physical, 2 were ebooks, 2 I even DNF'd, and 19, of course, were audiobook. That's my bread and butter right there. I did read a few NetGalley arcs, which was wonderful. That brought me up to 59%. I'm trying to get that. Always important. I believe it's 85% they recommend you be at. I did have 4 2-stars, 10 3-stars, 8 4-stars, and 2 5-stars, which is wonderful so that you can kind of get a nice well-rounding reading month. It was wonderful for me, and it ended up giving me a 3.4 average star rating, even with those DNFs, and that's fabulous. Page count, I ended up reading 10,630 pages. Not surprising considering Anastasia and the Robin Hobb last book were on there, and those suckers are huge. So that's all the stat stuff I have for you. So let's go ahead and dive in and start talking about reviewing these books themselves. First up, I finished The Rising Storm. This one I gave a 3-star. It was kind of a continuation of the book A Light of the Jedi from last month. There was a festival going on, a celebration. Of course, crazy things started happening in the midst of it. They were very heavy on the Jedi philosophy here versus romance. I didn't know they could have romantic entanglements, but apparently they can in this version of the Star Wars universe. So that was kind of interesting. And you really got to see a good versus evil, which was also kind of interesting. So it was a decent book. I did enjoy it. Then I finished Edge Dancer by Brandon Sanderson. And this was like a mini book that they had in that Stormlight Archive series. I enjoyed it so much. I gave it a 5-star. It deserved it. Again, it's very short. It's less than 300 pages, but this continues Liv's story and gives us more background and humor to her character, which was so fun. And there's like an author note that's at the end that explains that this kind of fills in the gaps that things that happen off screen between the one we just finished, book 2 of the Stormlight Archive, and Oathbringer, which I'm going to be reading next. So it was just a nice little in-between book, and it was a lot of fun. And I highly recommend it if you do this series to definitely make sure you add this one to your repertoire. Then I attempted to read The Bloodstones. This was my first DNF of the month. It broke my heart to do so because this is apparently a booktuber, and I definitely want to support the self-pub industry. Unfortunately, I just couldn't get into it. It was so slow and so boring and so much information dumped without a whole lot going on. It just didn't draw me in. I didn't care about the characters. So I gave it my usual, 100 pages. In this case, I think I even gave it 150. And I just couldn't do it anymore. So unfortunately, I had to DNF that one. Then I finished Crown of Crimson. And I wish that I hadn't. I gave this a 2-star. Oh my gosh. A River of Shadows was 5 stars for me. I loved that book, but now I can see why that was a traditional publish and a Crown of Crimson you have to buy on Amazon and it's self-pub. I think I can see why. Book 2, I don't know. It felt like very little plot progression, not even good dialogue between the two main love interests that we have. There wasn't even that much humor into it like there was the first one. It was just a lot of sex scenes. Really, that's all it was in there. And for something that's almost 350 pages, I just expected more. It wasn't just the curse of the second book. It was a pointless book, in my opinion. So because of that, I'm actually not even continuing the series. So this is it for me for the Underworld God series. I'm not continuing it, and that breaks my heart. I'll still keep the first one on my shelf because I loved it so much, but I do not recommend this one for anybody. Then I tried to finish The Fallen Blood. Man, oh man, that Trivial Pursuit game it's cursed me. I never get the answers right, and I don't like the books. Robert Jordan, of course, did the Wheel of Time series, which I also didn't like. So I think I'm just not jiving with the writing style there. I think that's what's getting me on this. It's not that it was terrible. It was just very boring. It was very vulgar at times, and the way that they describe the women, which I get, it's supposed to be like a historical fiction. So in those times, that is how they talk to and about women, but it just wasn't for me. So I had to DNF it. Then I finished The Weekend Away. This was actually a NetGalley. I loved it. I thought it was really good. I gave it 4 stars. It's a thriller. I thought it was very interesting. Basically, she is a twin. Her twin dies, and she doesn't think her twin committed suicide. She's pretty sure somebody murdered her. And so she goes to a cabin out in the middle of nowhere with these guys, with her friends of her sister, and is going to get to the bottom of it. But of course, things are going to go awry. You're not going to have cell service. You're going to have a forest fire that happens. So like all the chaos, all the things, and some truths come to light. So it was very good, though. I kind of thought I knew what was going to happen, and I was right, but there was a bit of a twist in there too that I really enjoyed. So I hope you guys like it. I do recommend it when it comes out. Then I finished Black Girl Unlimited. Oh my goodness, everybody. This I gave a 3-star. They said magical realism, and that's why I give it a 3-star, because there's really not real magic. I think the magic in here is very metaphorical. It's a very difficult story, tons of trigger warnings. Be aware of that. I'd heard after the fact when I read the author's note at the end that it's almost a kind of autobiographical, but with fictional twist to it. That's where the magical realism also, I guess, comes in. Stories from when she was growing up and things that happened to her. It's very difficult. A lot of attacks and things like that happen in this book. Things that happen to children, things like that. So just be prepared for that when you go into this. It was very well written. I enjoyed that, but don't expect actual magic. Whenever she talks about being a wizard, she doesn't mean that really. It's more metaphorical. And a lot of the time she sees things like a black veil over people when they're going through depression or sad. Again, I think these are things that are all in her mind and ways that she's using to cope with her life and the awful things that are happening to her. So it was a good story. Just it's very heavy. Make sure you're in the mood for something like that. Then I finished A Letter to the Luminous Deep. This was another NetGalley. This I gave 2 stars. I'm sorry to say I did not enjoy it. I went into it, they had described it as kind of being a like Divine Rivals, where someone's writing to somebody else and a romance blossoms. No. It's not like that at all. At least I didn't see it that way at all. It's more like they're writing to each other in very formal Old English style wording, and literally the entire book is nothing but these letters and notes from conferences and things like that. It's not, none of it is any kind of, storytelling that you get along the way in between the letters they write to each other. No. It's all the letters. And some of it is extremely boring. Like a lot of it was extremely boring. She's describing what the water's like as she's in this station underwater and the fish they're swimming by. And oh, by the way, the biology of it and stuff like that. So it was a huge disappointment for me because the cover is absolutely gorgeous. And it's one of the ones I was really excited about getting an arc of. It just definitely wasn't written for me. So maybe you guys will like it. Not my style. Then I finished These Hollow Vows. This I ended up giving a 4-star. I really enjoyed it. You all thought I would. I can't wait to continue the series in this. I thought it was phenomenal. I loved the banter. I loved the sarcasm that was going on with the characters. I loved the sister relationship. It was very sweet. Friends to lovers kind of thing. You guys know it's been around for a while. So I'm excited. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to continue. Then I finished The Scarlet Veil. This one I gave a 3-star. I feel like it was too long. I feel like if it was about 150 pages shorter, it would have been better. It's almost 650 pages long. So it just, unfortunately, I think was a little too long for my taste. Very slow plot progression, very slow. There were several characters I really didn't like. I didn't care about the vampires or the politics that were going on. At times it was kind of annoying. Why did it get still a 3-star? Because when it had those redeeming moments, they were so good. So like I would be plugging along, wondering if it was over yet, and then something would happen that made me literally laugh out loud, and I would just be like, okay, I'm all in again. Let's go with this. Let's do this. And then they deviate. So I feel like if this book had gotten a really good editor, I feel like it would have made it a 4-star book, honestly. So anyway, regardless, I thought it was okay. But I probably won't be continuing the series because your first book's typically your best, or at least even if your writing develops better as you go, it's the one that sets the stage for the rest of the series. And I didn't care enough about it that I'll continue it. Next, I read Age of War. This is the continuation of the series. This is book 3. I am so excited. I thought it was so good. There's more war, there's more politics and magic and heartache. And normally this would be something that you wouldn't think would be great, but oh my gosh, is Sullivan making this happen for me. I am loving it. I'm getting so invested. I am enjoying more and more of the characters. I am enjoying more and more that's unraveling because of course it's not going to be wrapped up for several books yet. I enjoy it so much. I can't wait to continue it. I am ahead because I've been so into these books. So the read along that we're doing on the Patreon for Cassidy's channel actually won't be picking up the next one until June. So I'm taking a break next month. I won't continue it, even though I'm dying to. And I do recommend this series. Then I finished A Heart So Fierce and Broken. This was the book club pick for my book club. I loved it. 4 stars. We're still enjoying this series tremendously. We actually picked the 3rd book in this series for next month. Feel free to join us. I cannot wait. I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. I'm seeing the final showdown kind of being set up. We found out more about the sorceress and what was going on with her. We got Ding Dong the witch, but it's not a witch, it's a queen. So yeah, like all the things. This one focused primarily on in the first book we had the prince and we had his love interest, and then we had the prince's guard. And so this second book was mostly about the prince's guard. I don't want to give anything away, but you're following his storyline and he finds a love interest and it's really cute. So I highly recommend this series. Then I finished The Changing Man. This was another NetGalley. Like I said, I'm trying to get that percentage up. I gave this 2-star. There was something about NetGalley. I loved The Weekend Away. These last two, not so much. It started off okay, actually. I thought that this was going to be kind of a horror, kind of almost a, Candyman kind of thing. Unfortunately, not so much. Basically, there's a student that's treated as less than just because she's part of an initiative to bring poorer kids into this private school system. So she gets some bullying there, and you hear the mystery of the changing man might get you. And so it kind of, built it up as that urban legend, and it sounded really, really good. And then unfortunately, the execution didn't happen. It went very sideways from what it was setting it up to be. And it felt more like The Faculty by the end of the book to me, if you've seen that movie. And so I was just extremely disappointed. So would I recommend it? Probably not. Would I read from this author again? I would. I would give this author another chance, but this one just really fell flat for me. Then I finished Midnight. This one I also gave a 2-star. I know, there was a bit of a slump there. Thank goodness for other books like book club books. It didn't deliver. I thought cruise ship, going to Antarctica, you're trapped, there's a murderer on board, like what could be better? I didn't get the thrills at all. And I'm easily scared. Basically, it was very predictable. It was very slow and boring. There wasn't a lot of atmosphere. Like, here was the perfect opportunity for the author to give us all the cold chills and to describe Antarctica and the environment more, to get us more in that setting. And she chose not to for whatever reason. By the ending, I just didn't care. I'm like, I don't care who dies next. I don't care who the killer is. I just don't care. Again, probably because it was very obvious. And sometimes the things that happened felt like, okay, well, I've been boring for a while, so now I'm going to do something really extreme. And it just takes you out of the story. So for me, not a recommendation. Then I finished The Girl in the Moon. This was the third and final in Cassidy's book club, and I'm so glad. I love Mark Lawrence's writing. Sometimes I like it more than others, but this trilogy did it for me. Big hearts. It was so good. I love Yaz. I love the whole world. Here's where you get good ice world building for sure. Mark Lawrence did a fabulous job with that. It was a great conclusion. You felt like everything was wrapped up that needed to be. I wish that I had liked Red Sister more, because in this book you actually do have those worlds combined, the trilogy with the Red Sister, and then this, you combine them. And so I do feel like I was left out on some of the stuff that I would have enjoyed more if I had enjoyed that series enough to continue it. So I recommend that. If you can get through the Red Sister trilogy, it will add to this story tremendously. So I recommend you do it if you can. Then I finished Crime Scene. This was a collection of poems, very disturbing, very sad, but very well written. And so I gave it a 3-star. I enjoyed it and I would recommend it. Just know going into it, it's crime scene, so disturbing. Then I finished Poetry Comics. This one was the complete opposite. It was very lighthearted. I gave it 3 stars as well. It's very seasonally based, very cute. It has little illustrations with them. I enjoyed it. Then I finished The Ones We Burn. This one I gave a 3-star. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that when I went into it. It had very sweet moments, which I appreciated, kind of a YA feel to it. It's about duty and family, about a queen or a coven and following your heart, trusting your friends. I don't want to give too much away. It of course had powers and things like that as well. It was okay. It was a solid story. Nothing that blew me away, but I enjoyed my time with it and I would recommend it. Then I finished Anastasia. This was a chunker. It was over 650 pages. I loved the writing style. I was not miserable the whole time I was reading it. You feel like you're in the middle of Russia. You got the atmosphere. You got the world. They added a twist where there's magical powers that everybody has, including Anastasia. And part of her powers involves being able to communicate with this I keep wanting to say eagle. It's not an eagle, a falcon that she gets as a pet. And the falcon's very sarcastic and I love it. And I just think it's absolutely adorable. You love their family. You can understand her struggles trying to grow up in that world. She has kind of a love-hate relationship with a guy there that she has to see several times at balls and things. And you can just see where that's going to be going. It was so great. I did enjoy it up until the ending. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. I feel like if it maybe stopped at page 550, I would have been happy. I'm trying to think of how not to give anything away. The ending irritated me extremely. If you've ever watched the Lost TV series and were irritated by what that ending revelation ended up being, you'll be irritated by this book. It's not identical because I don't want to give anything away. Just suffice to say, it feels unsatisfactory. So up until the last 100 pages, they actually felt like it was being wrapped up. You had this epic battle. Things were happening. Yes, something sad happened, but it felt satisfying. Like this would actually happen this way. And so you're thinking that's it. And you're curious, why are there another 100 pages? And then this thing happens and you're like, so what was the point of the last 250 pages that I read? What was the point of that then? I feel like you wasted my time and my emotions. So it just got to where, because this event happened and this is how the author decided to do the ending, even though the ending of the actual book was a nice little bow, I didn't care. I just didn't care. I felt like I'd been lied to. I didn't care. I didn't like it at all. I was irritated and I'm just like, whatever. I almost literally just threw the book. I'm like, whatever. So unfortunately, the style, like I said, writing style was gorgeous. I thought it was so amazing. So just be prepared for that. If you're okay with an ending that makes you kind of feel frustrated or irritated, but you're there for the story, for the culture, for the characters and their banter and just all the good things that are in this book, then I say go for it, because it was easily going to be a 5-star for me up until that ending. And then the ending irritated me so bad it dropped at 2 stars. So instead of 5, it got 3. So It's up to you. Depends on how you like things wrapped up and how bad you get irritated. So good luck with that recommendation. Then I finished The Heart Principle. This I gave a 3-star. I appreciated that the main character was neurodivergent. She spoke my language. Like, I totally could understand where she was coming from and how she dealt with things. That's me to a T. I loved the aftermath that happened with a relationship where the two people aren't on the same path like they think they are or they want to be. I appreciated that. I appreciated finding a friendship and then building on it from somebody else. I appreciated the fact that they had a character who was a cancer survivor and they dealt with the aftermath of that and the realistic expectations there. Lots of really good representation in here, and their relationship was very, very sweet. It even involved watching documentaries of octopuses together. I mean, it's just so cute. So I do recommend this, and I did enjoy my time with it. Then I finished my only nonfiction, Britney Spears' The Woman in Me. Oh, this was sad. I gave it 4 stars. It was incredible. I had no idea. I grew up listening to the free, Britney movement and things like that. I knew about the Mickey Mouse Club and all of that, but I had no idea she had gone through all of this. I had no idea people try to keep her from her babies. I had no idea that her shaving her head wasn't her going crazy or losing her mind. It was, when you're a mother, there's this crazy pull to your children at all times. And if somebody says for months on end, you're not allowed to have any contact with them, you have no control over your life, none. And you just feel so out of control. What can you do to get control? Instead of going to alcohol, instead of going to drugs, instead of going to violence, she decided to shave her head. She was so desperate and tired of being a sex symbol for people. She just shaved her hair off. And what was so sad was she finally gets a little bit of relief. And of course, she herself was shocked afterwards, like, what did I just do? But a little bit of relief of being in control of her own self to do that. But then her parents shut her out because she's ugly now. Really? What kind of parents are you? I'm trying not to judge because I'm not in anybody else's shoes, but like, Katie could go bald and I'll still love her. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that. And so her parents just did not feel like good people in this book at all. So prepare yourself for that. But it was really good. Just, sad. I ended up not liking her family at all, like any of them, brothers, sisters either. I didn't like any of them. And I got to give her real kudos for what she was able to live through and the challenges she was able to overcome, considering all of the things that were happening to her. I mean, she literally had nobody that she could turn to and trust. And at one time, she was forced to go into a rehab facility for taking vitamins. And while she's there, literally has no one she can trust or talk to or friends. They have to hire a bodyguard to protect her. And this is her friend that she eats lunch with as the bodyguard. I mean, that kind of loneliness, that gets to you. It just was absolutely devastating, but I highly recommend reading it. The audiobook was phenomenal. The audiobook is actually done by, I can't think of her name right now. It's going to drive me crazy. She was married to Heath Ledger. She has been in lots and lots of things. Most recently in my mind is popping up that she was in, now I'm blanking on that, the circus one, The Greatest Showman, I think. Anyway, you're gonna have tons of pictures here popping up trying to explain what I mean when I go back and edit this. But anyway, it was really good. She narrated beautifully, and Brittany does a little thing ahead of time before she gets going on the audiobook, just kind of giving her viewpoint on this, but explains why she can't read it herself. It was too hard to live through. So anyway, I highly recommend it, you guys. It's really good, and it's really fast. It's really short. Then I finished Assassin's Fate. Of course, it got 5 stars. Oh my gosh. And it was done so beautifully. Robin Hobb, you're the master. You just are the master. I am not worthy. I am not worthy. Oh my gosh, I loved it. I loved this entire time. I'm going to miss being in this world. I'm going to miss the series so much. But it is time. And so I am excited next month to pick up a new series, but oh, you guys, it is incredible. And if you're worried about how everything's wrapped up, don't be. She does it beautifully. Chef's kiss. You guys need to read this series. Then I finished Flower Heart. This one I gave 3 stars. It was sweet. I appreciated she was trying to master her powers. I appreciated the complicated relationship she has with her mother. I appreciated the love-hate relationship of someone that used to be a friend and then seemed to just kind of ignore you all of a sudden for no reason. It wouldn't explain why, but then you're also still attracted to him and you need his help. So I appreciated all of that. I appreciated the rules that are in this world that explain that she's not allowed to do certain things with her power and that we're watching you, kind of a feeling. So all of it was really, really good. For me, I think the reason it was a 3-star is because it felt really simple. So all the things I explained to you is basically the entirety of the book. You just get to have all the fun nuances in between, but there's no huge revelation. There's no huge plot point. There's no real plot progression other than just like day in, day out working on things. So for me, because it felt very simple, it got a 3-star, but I wasn't miserable at all. It was a good, easy read and I enjoyed my time. Then I finished This Cursed Light. This one I gave a 3-star. This finally wraps up the duology of The Last Fenestra. I liked the first one a lot more. I will say that. It did wrap everything up, which is nice, but it was so slow. And there was some very unnecessary events, we'll say, that were just unnecessary. They really didn't add to the story for me at all. And I wanted more than what I got from the final book. So take it as you will. Had I known it was going to wrap up like this, probably would have skipped the first one. But just saying, it was okay. Take that as you will. Then I finished XOXO. This was not on my TBR at all. I needed it though, because in my reading challenges, there's not a lot of X's that exist out there. And this one popped up and I thought, why not? It's small. It's less than 350 pages. It looks like it's kind of a rom-com feel. Loved it. And so did Stevie, apparently, if you could hear him. 4-star. It was so cute. Oh my gosh. I loved so much that you get K-pop stuff going on here and some info in that if you don't know the world of music with K-pop. You get to be in Korea and you get to hear some Korean language said. They talk about Hangul, the written language. I loved it. I loved the customs. I loved the culture. I loved the language. I loved all of it. It gave me all of the atmosphere feels for it of a Korean American who goes to Korea and trying to fit in the school system there. Also following this K-pop star that she has feelings for. And of course, so do everybody else. And how do you work with that? And it was just so cute. There wasn't a moment I was bored. There wasn't a moment that I was, dreading picking it up. I was excited to keep continuing it. Very rom-com, Hallmarky. I hope they make it into a movie. I would totally watch it. Then the last book of the month I finished was The Rabbit Hutch. This is a 3-star and the complete opposite of XOXO. I read this because, again, for one of the challenges, I needed a National Book Award winner, and it is. But wow, this is dark and twisty and weird. It's basically a bunch of other stories and perspectives of other people and what they're doing that leads up to the ending where they're all connected somehow. And the author successfully did that. Each story pulled me in and I was very intrigued by it, but each one was just weirder than the next and very dark at times, like very, very dark and strange. And I did appreciate how they are all interconnected. That was done beautifully. I can see why it won awards. But just don't go into it expecting lighthearted stuff or you'll be thrown for a loop like I was. So I believe that ends the books. The only other thing I have to wrap up is to let you know that I was also able to go meet family. I'm so excited. They were wonderful. I never knew I had these 2 half brothers. We share a biological father who disappeared on them and disappeared on me. So had no idea, but thanks to Ancestry.com when we did that, I'm not trying to do a commercial for Ancestry. I have no affiliation with them. But I got it as a Mother's Day gift for my husband last year, and it said I had a 25% connection with these 2 gentlemen. And so I reached out, found out they were my half brothers. So we did get to, over spring break, meet them. They are fantastic. I love and adore them and can't wait to continue getting to know them better. And yeah, we all had a fabulous time. Found out Katie is a pool shark. Had no idea. Rick taught her how to play and she just smashed us all while playing pool. Last but certainly not least, I'm also doing the Oregon Trail, of course, and for this, I ended up doing a total of, I have left 1,720 miles to walk. I don't know, am I going to make it, you guys? When you look at that map, am I going to make it? I'm a little concerned that I may not make it to Oregon by the time the snow falls. So we'll have to see. Well, I hope you all had a fabulous April as well. I look forward to our game tomorrow. I hope you will too. Take care. Please like, subscribe, send your friends, and I will see you tomorrow.